back to my studio, and today we're going to go ahead, I'm going to add, we're going to do these next two leaves, but I want to get some green in this one. It's got a slight green cast, but I'd like to get just a little bit more green in. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a wet on dry, and we'll soften it as we go. Just a little bit more green in there like that. Just a couple different places. Just because I think we want it to be in sync with the other leaves. Okay, so I'm going to clean out my brush, soften the edge, like we do with every other dry brushing technique. Soften that edge. Add just a little bit more water on this one. And soften that in as well. Just give that paint a spot to go to, and it softens itself out. There we go. I like that better. It's got a little bit of a blue and cast to it, and then it's also got a gray cast to it, which is what we wanted. We wanted to set it down behind this one. So let's go ahead, and we're going to do this one next, I believe. Clean out my brush. Pick up my water brush. I'm going to get plenty of water on here. This is 300-pound paper, which is really nice. You don't have to tape it down. You don't have to worry about it buckling. It's just got a nice qualities to it. It's 100% cotton. This is Arches. Pick it up right at Hobby Lobby in sheets, and then I cut it to fit the project that we're going to be painting. Always waited for that item at Hobby Lobby to go on sale. Never seen it happen. All the years I've gone to Hobby Lobby. Oh well, it's still the best quality that they have in watercolor paper. And I'm just moving this around. So I can get a lot of water on there. Now we're going to do this one a little bit differently. I'm trying to give you a different look every single time. And this one is going to be different. It's going to be yellow in the center, and then green, and then some russets on the end, like it's getting older. There we go. I'll let that set up for a moment. I don't believe it's running at all. I can actually add some more to it because it didn't really get a ton. You just want to make sure you got plenty of water on here. You always want to look at the side of your paper to make sure you haven't missed any spots. That looks good. Now I can actually see some puddles, which is a good thing. You can just run it across, let it soak in. If you ever get to the point where it just doesn't want to soak in, just pick up some of the water. Just make sure your brush is nice and dry. And you can just put it right into a puddle and it'll pick it up just like a sponge. So it works great. Either way. I really am enjoying using just the three colors, and creating my own colors. That makes every leaf unique. For sure. You can create so many different colors with just those three primaries, which works out lovely. Okay, put just a real light second coat on here. Another reason it's important to have a nice bright light is to make sure that you can look at the side of your paper and make sure that it's covered. If you don't have a bright enough light, you're not going to be able to see. So that's always important. I have a real bright light because of the videotaping, but there we go. Okay, let that soak in for a moment. I am going to just go ahead and create the green that we're going to need. We're going to do straight yellow in the center. I'm going to add a lot of water to it, however, so it's not quite as dark as this yellow. We don't want that. I'm just creating, and I should be using my mixing brush, and I'm not. A soft green, but I don't want it real bright, so to tone it down, I'm adding some of the red. There we go, that should be good. Lean out my brush, pick up some water for up here, because I want to have that yellow thinned out pretty well. Okay, so let's do the yellow in the center first. It's still got some pooling on here, so we're going to let this soak in just a little bit longer. It's getting better. You don't want it to spread like crazy. You want to be able to control the paint as you add it to the paper. And to do that, you have to let the water soak in. Not have any puddles, which I do still, so we're just gonna bide our time here. I think that's better. Yeah, that should be good. See how much lighter that yellow is? I love that yellow. Get so many options from that one color just by adding the water and creating the values that you want. I'm going to have this come out pretty wide. And then, as I said, we're going to add in the green next. I do show quite a bit of puddling over here yet, so I'm going to just pick up some of that water by wiping my brush. And if it goes right to the edge, not a big deal, because the green's going to go right over the top of that anyway, and it'll make a pretty green value. Make that just a bit darker. There we go. Yeah, it's better. I don't necessarily want this to go right to the edge, but if it does, that's okay too. Not a big deal. Just readjusting my color as I go, making it darker, lighter, whatever I'm looking for. It's another nice thing about doing the three colors, because you can add water, you can remove water like I'm doing here. Got a lot of different options. And I went out, so I'm going to over my edge, so I'm going to just pick that up as best I can. And I'm just dry wiping my brush on my baby cloth as I go. Brush has to be drier than the paper to pick it up like that. Okay, so I'm going to let that set up too, and we'll go over to the other edge. Like once I get this picked up. Okay, now this side can be a little darker yet even, I believe. And it just creates another value within your leaf. Just looking at the side to make sure I got it on there where I want it. That looks good. Okay, I'm going to let that edge, it doesn't look too bad. Let's go ahead and add it in. Get the green all the way around. All right, now let's create kind of a russet red. I'm going to get to my mixing brush though, and so I don't ruin this one. That's why a mixing brush is so good, because it has a lot of stiffness to the brush, so you can mix quite a bit before it's going to be damaged. Okay, so we're getting a tad russet color here, but let's add some more of that yellow in too. That's better. Let's start with this color, and if we need to darken it, we can. Looks like it's going to be pretty good though. Pick up my number 4. Roll my brush to pick up the paint. Now this is going to be on the outside edges. And if it kind of rolls in, it's okay too, because when they start to deteriorate, get old and dry out, they turn into this russet color. I'm kind of creating my own outside edge here as we go. Controlling my paint where I want it to go. Now down in this area, it's going to probably be a little darker. Okay, it's going to keep going right around the outside edge. I think we're going to turn it this way so I can get at it this way. And if you need to, do exactly what I'm doing. Just create your outside edge the way you want it. You don't have to necessarily follow your design. It's just kind of a sketched out ideas of, I'm going to deepen this again, so I want this darker down here. I just added a little bit of red to that just to kind of give me a different value here. It's always important to make sure you've got a lot of values in your designs. They look more realistic. We could just run this right down the vein here. All right, so I'm looking pretty good here. I do want to get some more yellow in that center, but I'm going to dry this first because I got a feeling that's starting to dry. I don't want to pick up paint, I want to lay down paint. I'm going to go darker right down here again too. Yep, that's what it needed. Okay, so let me dry this and we'll come back and we'll do our second glaze. So I'll be right back with you. Okay, we got everything nice and dry. I'm going to pick up my water brush and we're going to add some more water on top of this. And again, being the second wash, you want to lay your water down gently. You don't want to push it down too hard because if you do, you could pick up the paint that you just applied. We're going to deepen our reds on the edges. We're going to add in some more green and go over our yellow again too. It'll make much more vibrant petal or leaf that way. Make sure I got it covered. It's amazing. By looking at the side, you can see just how much you missed. So it's important to do that. I splashed up there. Get that off of there. All right. So there's our layer of water. First thing I want to do is the yellow. Just a touch of water to it to lighten it down a little bit. There we go. Now, as you can see, as these dry, all the colors lighten in value. So don't be too upset if you lay down pretty and it looks really, really dark, because it will lighten as it dries. All right, so we got our yellow in. Let's go ahead. I'm going to make up some more of the green here. Now this plate that I'm working on is just a Walmart cheapie. This one's a smaller size. I do have larger ones. If I'm doing a full project, I would definitely be using one of the larger ones. Just gives you more space to blend and add different values, mixes, that type of thing. That's the color I'm looking for right there. Okay, so let's reinforce the green. And again, if it goes over the yellow, that's not a big deal. Okay, I'm liking that. All right, so I'm going to clean my brush. We're going to make a deeper red this time. Oh, I keep using my regular brush instead of my mixing brush. There it is. Make sure it's clean. We're going to pick up some more red. Need some of that yellow. Add in a touch of the blue. That's going to turn a brown. I'm going to add some of the green in too. That's much better. Clean out my mixing brush so it's good for the next mix. Nope, I got paint in there, but that's okay. All right, so let's start up here. I'm going to just kind of dab it in at this point. Let it do its own thing with the water, which it is, which is nice. And don't forget, sometimes there's some middle sections that get like they're not looking very pretty anymore and they're dying off a little bit. So you want to add some of those. I definitely want this darker down here, so we're going to really start some of that down in here. Wherever you lay your brush down first after you have when you have a fresh load of paint, it's where it's going to be the darkest. So if you want to darken something, make sure that that's where you're putting it first. Let's turn it this way. Darken this area. Come up here and bring it down. Now there should still be enough water on there. It's gonna spread a little bit, which is good. I'm gonna go back in here a little bit, over here a little bit, over there a little bit. And this section at the bottom is actually drying out and turning red faster. For some reason, this area doesn't want to grab any paint. Must have a bad sizing right there or something. I keep making it wider and it doesn't want to grab. Okay, that's better. See if that helps. Okay. All right, now I'm going to dry this one more time and then we'll do a little bit of detail and we'll move on to our other and last leaf. So I'll be right back with you. Okay, so I got everything nice and dry, cool to the touch. And I am going to add just a touch of water. Not much because I want to do this wet on damp, my veining. So I don't want to put a lot of water down, but I do want to put some down. We're going to let it dry, just a touch. Wet on damp is really lovely. It softens your lines that you're putting down, or your veins, whatever you want to say, and it doesn't spread as if it were wet on wet, so it turns out real lovely. See how lighter that kind of russet color went? It's amazing. I'm looking at the side to make sure I've got it covered where I want it to be. I think I do. So I'm going to let that set in, and while it is, I'm going to create the vein color that I want to use. We're going to include that green in with the russet. I'm going to kind of push all our colors together here and create that vein color. I do want it to be a little more yellow on the veins. Use this yellow too. Now we can see what the color looks like. I like these white plates for that. Lets you see what the color is that you've actually mixed. I'm going to add just a touch more yellow to this. That's better. All right. It's got a real even sheen on the water that I added in, but I want to let that soak in just a little bit more even. So I am going to straighten out my number 4 so it doesn't dry crooked. And I'm going to pick up my number 1. And since I haven't used this yet today, I'm just cleaning it out, waking it up. It looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and try it. Just gonna roll my brush in the paint so I get a nice, I always like to pull it towards me. When you start pushing it this way, you're not gonna get the kind of look that you want. So I always pull it towards me. Could actually be a tad darker. That's better. Picking up some more in that same area. And again, you don't have to do a whole ton of veins, but they're nice. And this one, this spot here is probably on a vein. And this spot is probably on a vein. That's usually where they start to turn, is right where the veins are. So I've put 3 on that side. We'll do 3 on this side. And this will be a vein right here because of that spot. And there we go. I do want to add just a little bit more color in here. Just doesn't want a whole color right there, and it got to be the sizing. That's better though. All right, so we got that leaf done. Now we've got one more leaf to go. So let's put our water in first so it's got time to soak in. And again, there's never been any water on this leaf, so we need to put it on twice the first time through. Always important, especially with the 300-pound paper, to make sure you got enough water on there. I would try, if you don't want to buy a whole package, I do usually buy the blocks of watercolor, and if I'm going to do a 300-pound, it's definitely going to be a block usually. But these sheets are nice. You can cut them to size, and if you want to just practice on them, you can. And it's less expensive. I think a sheet is like $18 right now. $18.99, $17.99, something like that at Hobby Lobby. And you're not spending an arm and a leg to see if you like the paper or not. I usually get about 6 different projects out of one sheet. Okay, now let that soak in. It looks like I got it covered pretty much. Okay, let that soak in. And we're going to go back. I'm going to clean off my palette. I always have cut up Viva paper towels because I don't like to have a store brand paper towel. They're a little harsh on your brushes. So I always have a Viva. The only time I buy them is for my painting. But this way, if I would wipe my brush on it, which I do at times, I'm not damaging it because the paper towel is so rough. You don't want to do that. There we go. We have a nice clean palette. This small bowl or plate really helps in that respect too. It's so small, it's easy to clean up. And I'm going to put some water in the middle. Now I'm going to go back to a normal green yellow design on this one. But we won't do the negative painting on the veining. We'll do a normal vein like we just did on that one. Get a little more yellow in there. It's going awfully gray. Don't want that. And that's what's nice with just 3 colors too. You can sit and play with the 3 values that you have on your palette. These again are M-grams. Quinacridone rose is the red, Phthalo blue, and the yellow is Nickle azo yellow. I like that yellow. It goes real dark or it goes real light. It's kind of a nice way to create a lot of values. Okay, that's a little bit better with it. I like that darker green look. And then over here, we'll do a lighter green. There we go. I like that. Cleaning out my mixing brush. There we go. Now, yep, we need to add some more water. This will be our second coat. We're not going to go crazy, but we do want to add some more. You want to make sure you get right up to the edges. And what do you want to do behind this petal? You want to darken it so it sets down behind that petal. Or leaf, I should say. I keep calling them petals, I don't know why. Okay. Pick up my brush. Let that soak in for just a moment. Yeah, it looks pretty good. So let's put our dark in first. Well, this is my smallest brush. I don't want to use that. That's my liner. This is actually a number 2. This will work. Pick up the dark. Staying where I want it to stay, so that's a good thing. That's the way you test it. If I put my brush down and it spreads out, way too much water, you need to let it dry some more. So you want to control where the water goes, where this paint is going to end up for you. I'm going to run this right down the center. Yep, that looks good. It's staying where I wanted it to. All right, so I'm going to clean my brush. I'm going to go to our lighter green. Add that in right next to this green. Go right up to that inside vein. And now that they're next to each other like that, they're going to blend in. You're going to have a third color created because of that. Just going to go right up to that green there. All right, now I'm going to take some yellow and I'm going to add it into this green on this edge. I don't want it to be yellow yellow. I want it to be a soft green. Green yellow. That's better. And that's just creating another value that we're putting in here. And since I mixed it right with the green that I had on my palette, you know it's going to go well because it's got that color in it. Make some of it go up by the edge. Okay, now I'm going to dry this and then we're going to do our second layer that'll deepen these colors, especially that dark. So I'll be right back with you. Okay, I got everything nice and dry. I'm going to add in our next layer of water, and again I'm going to go very gently. I don't want to pick up my colors. But I don't want a ton of water on here either. I do want some. And this deepening of the colors will really make this pop out a lot better. Okay, now while that's soaking in a little bit, I'm going to actually go back to my number 4 if I can find it. There it is, right in front of me, right? All right, so I got my number 4. I'm going to take my mixing brush and make this darker. Grab some of that yellow and pull it in. I still want it to have a green cast to it. I don't want it to be gray. So I'm grabbing some of our green and bringing that in. That's better. Much. All right. Picking up my paint by rolling my brush, deepening. See, now it's not quite dry enough yet, but close. A few more seconds and we can go ahead and apply our second layer, but that's going to be much darker, which I like already. Oh yeah, it's drier down here. So that's good. reinforcing that nice dark. Run it right down this edge of this vein. Don't necessarily want it to be a real straight line or anything, so there we go. All right, so now let's go back to our middle green. We're going to reinforce that as well. Yeah, that's darker. That's okay. Not a lot of this on there, but just enough to create another value. Let them mix in together. And brush one more time. I'm going to bring just a little bit of that green into the yellow. And we can reinforce the yellow. Needs a little more yellow than that. Needs a little more water than that. There we go. Yep, we got the yellow green I was looking for. That's good. Good. Okay, I'm going to dry this and then we'll come back in and do a little bit of detail and we'll be done. So I'll see you in a bit. Okay, got everything nice and dry, and while that's cooling, I'm going to, one thing I've been trying to say and I haven't gotten to it yet, whenever I dry, I pull my paper back away from my palette because I don't want my palette to get dried with my hair dryer. So if you want to save your puddles and your mixes, pull that paper away from wherever you're drying. Okay. I've got my number 1, I believe it is. Yep. Picking up a darker value. And what's nice about this is one value green and yellow. This is another value green and yellow. This one's got the russet. This one's really gold and pretty. And then this one's the darker gray, blue, purplish one. So you've got 5 different styles of leaves here that you can plan and decide what you want to do on your design. And it's always nice to have it set up in advance in your mind, or even on a paper. I'll have a lot of paper that I've, older paper that I've taped down, and I do it right at my, oops, went a little bit thick there, so I'm going to just clean that out. And I practice it while I'm watching TV. My husband thinks I'm nuts, but yeah, that's okay. So I made that just a little thick, so I'm just picking up some of that vein. There we go. And making it thin like the other ones. There we go. I don't like to see veins right directly across from each other, so I always counteract them a little bit as I go down. So there, you've got 5 different leaves. Now, if you want to see more content like this, please let me know in the comments. Hit the like button to let YouTube know that you like it. Check me out at patreon.com/Colleen D. Aiken, and you'll see me teach skills that will last a lifetime. And thank you so much for watching today, and we'll see you next time.